As a parent, one of the most important things that we want is for our children to succeed. But what if your child is struggling? With me today is President of Tutor Doctor, Frank Milner. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, I love the name Tutor Doctor. It kind of says it all, but you actually have a very different approach with tutoring.
Yes,
Tell us
absolutely.
about Tutor Doctor.
Well, first of all, we make house calls, right? We send tutors to the home to work one-on-one with students. And, we have over 200 really passionate, really dedicated franchisees who are passionate about helping parents and helping students improve their grades or their study skills, etc.
Now, as a parent, like a lot of times we'll look for different signs in a child, but as a parent, when do you know you need to call in a tutor?
Well, you know what, we help kids that are struggling in school. We help kids that are doing really well in school. So, it depends what the goals of the parents are and what the goals of the students are. You know, they might be wanting to get into a very specialized course in higher education. You know, getting an A is not always good enough, so it really depends on the circumstances. But for us, just having support, having an academic coach is really, really helpful for students, whatever their academic level is.
I couldn't agree with you more, but what do you think the parents are looking at? What mistakes are the parents making? The biggest mistakes that you see in your world?
Well, the biggest challenge is understanding what kind of learner your child is, right? There are different learning styles, and as a parent, I have two kids, both great students, but completely different learning style. My daughter is a visual learner, and my son is a kinesthetic learner. So, I walk into my son's room, he's got music playing in the background, he's bouncing a ball off the wall, and as a parent, it's easy for me to look at that and say, why aren't you studying? When in fact, what I should be doing is supporting that, exactly, because he is studying. That's the way he studies. And that's
so do you see, like in the school system, I would say that one of the biggest challenges, and we talked about it during our banter, is you've got one teacher and 30 odd students or 35 students or whatever. So to get that one-on-one kind of learning and teaching, it's next to impossible in a traditional school system,
absolutely.
Correct? So,
absolutely.
So with your approach, using a tutor that would come to your house and would figure out how that learning style is.
Yeah, our approach is all about the match between the tutor and the student, because that one-on-one interaction is crucial. And part of the magic of that is figuring out what kind of learner the student that we're working with is, so we can adapt our style to the student style, and they therefore get the best results possible. So absolutely, the one-on-one interaction is critical.
Because that's next to impossible for a teacher in a large group, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so what would be, so we say I have a child that's struggling or that needs extra help for whatever reason. What would be the first step? They call your organization?
Sure, they give us a call. We come in, we'll do a consultation, we'll sit down and understand what the family needs, but also understand what the circumstances are, what are the dynamics going on in the household, because those things can also affect the way a student learns. And then, we do some assessments with the student to figure out what level they're at. And, the reality is a kid's not struggling today because they didn't understand the lesson that was taught in class today, but very often they're struggling today because they missed something last year or something in the foundation. So we have to go back and we have to fill in those missing gaps. And then once we've done that, then we can start moving ahead in the curriculum and really help kids excel at a completely different level.
Okay, now there are a few different learning styles.
Yes.
So share with us what those are.
So 3 basic learning styles: auditory, which is listening. You'll want to use things like CDs and iPods. You'll want to use a recorder and listen to that recording over and over, even as you're studying. So you study into a recorder and then play that back and listen over and over. Then there's the visual learner. And the visual learner will have to take good notes, use a notebook like this, organize their notes, highlight certain sections. So the visual learners, exactly,
in order to comprehend it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they need to keep writing it down, like lots of lists, lots of organization. And then there's the kinesthetic learner.
And what's the kinesthetic learner?
Kinesthetic learner learns by seeing, by viewing, by modeling, etc. But they need to study in short bursts. They'll often have music in the background, using a stress ball to help that movement becomes really, really important for the kinesthetic learner as well.
So it's not necessarily attention deficit disorder with a student like that.
Exactly.
It's actually that they need to have a lot of activity around them and can only
100%.
sit in short periods of time.
Right, and oftentimes as parents, we say our kids got ADD or
but it's not ha ha ha. It's the way they learn.
It's a learning style, exactly.
So how would a parent assess what their style of child would be?
Well,
how would you know
a really simple exercise that's kind of fun. Just take a paper airplane.
Okay.
And have them go through the exercise. First of all, tell them how to make the paper airplane.
Okay.
Let them do it.
So you need to make a paper airplane, make a paper airplane.
And explain to them how to do it. Right, and then the second thing you do is have them do it again, but this time show them how to make the paper airplane, demonstrate for it, and then have them go through that exercise. And then third, write down the instructions of how to make the airplane and have them follow that. And you'll see they'll be able to make it all three ways, but one way will really stand out from the others, and you'll get a very good idea of how they learn.
Okay, that's really important. Let's run through that again. Tell them,
show them, written instructions, right?
And see whichever way that they actually
do it best.
Do it best.
Right, and that will give you a really good idea of what their learning style is.
That's amazing. So now, how your approach to teaching that style? How do you approach the student?
Well, again, what we'll do is we'll do the assessment during our consultation. We'll take very detailed notes. All that information is passed along in terms of matching them with the right tutor. Not just any tutor. It's not just subject matter, but it's also the personality of the tutor, etc. So those are all considerations when we make that magical match with the student. And then the tutor will go in there and go through some of these exercises with the students to help them figure out how to best deliver the information or provide the support that the student needs.
Well, I got to tell you, I had a tutor for certain things as I grew up, and it made the world of difference. Yeah. Thank you very much for doing that. It's a really valuable service, and you're available everywhere.
Yep.
So to check out Tutor Doctor, go to tutordoctor.com. Now, here's some of our volunteers, our volunteer Matt, who's going to tell us about community events calendar. Thank you very much.